Get started? Yeah! Awesome! I'm so happy that you guys came out today. My name is Ranger Stephanie. It's so nice to see all you guys out today. It's not supposed to rain, so we're going to make it a good night. We're going to do a little program, teach you guys about the canal, and then we're going to make some s'mores. I heard some people brought some s'mores, so I'm excited about that part. Are you guys excited about that part? Yeah. Awesome. Well, today we're going to talk about canals. We're going to talk about, how they work, things like that. But just to give you a little information before we get started, that it took 308 miles, about 7 years, 2,000 men, 13 counties, and $4 million. That's what it took to get the Ohio New York Canal, which goes straight through our state. Have any of you guys ever been on the towpath, hiking, biking, running? Okay, cool, almost everybody. Well, that towpath is right next to the Ohio New York Canal. I'm sure you noticed some of the locks that are still there, the big ditch. That's the Ohio New York Canal. So that's what we're going to learn about today. We're going to learn about how to lock through a canal, because it's a little different than, just a normal boat going on a river or something with a current. They had to use canals to get up and down different levels to make it through the valley and through other parts of Ohio. We're going to learn about what the land was like before the canal was built. We're going to learn about why the canal ended, what happened to make there be no more canal. So, we're going to learn about prosperity, because that's a huge factor of why the canal was built. We're going to learn about the hard work that it took, because it was a handmade ditch. It wasn't a river. It wasn't something that was made before. It was hand dug by men, and that's how we got it. And we're going to learn about how the families lived on the canal, what a boat was like on the canal, and what happened after the canal. So to get started, we're going to head back into the 1700s.
Well, greetings, friends.
Greetings.
How are you tonight?
Good.
Let me paint a picture for you of what it might have been like in this area back in the 1700s and how this area first became settled. The Lenape Indians, the American Indians, sometimes known as the Delaware Indians, came from a long ways away to get to this area. They walked. They started with the Mahoning Trail. They walked across Pennsylvania. They came through Fort Duquesne. And then they came through Fort Sandusky. They crossed that Cuyahoga River up north near Tinker's Creek. And that brought them down into this valley. And they loved this land. This Ohio land. There was so much land for them, so much space that they could call their own. The Lenape American Indians came from the East Coast, and they brought with them the skills of hunting and gathering and farming. The men, they would go out hunting every morning and every evening, and then they would join the women and the children in the middle of the day on the family farms where they tended their crops. They would grow their crops, they would hunt and gather. They stored up this food in case they were ever forced off their land, which happened very often. They were forced to move from place to place. The children needed somewhere to call their own so that they could set down some roots. But the Lenape were forced time and time again. They loved the land south of here called Sand Run. But they feared constantly being forced off the land. So they would storehouse their food and save it in case something happened. Well, something did happen, because the military and the settlers would come in and destroy their homes, take their land, take their farms, without so much as a question. How could they do this? The Lenape American Indians were here first. They came in, they built their homes from the resources that were around, they made their farms, they grew their crops, they made the land more fertile. They did nothing to hurt anyone. They were not a threat to anyone, but they were treated very, very poorly. Now, I hope today, your trip through the valley, that you're treated with more kindness and safety than they were. Good day.
Good evening, friends. I'm surprised to see so many of you out here in the woods. I know a woman who is from the Ottawa village. She actually helped me not to pick mushrooms that would be dangerous and make us sick. So we talk every now and then. She told me that her people came from the south. They traveled 8 miles they came along the Akron, the Portage Path, and traveled between the Cuyahoga and Tuscarawas River. But sometimes the water was so high that they were able to take the little Cuyahoga to Summit Lake, and that made their journey much shorter. Her father was one of the very first to settle in this land. But he's no longer with us because of the wars going on all around us. It's so frightening. The Ottawa have been told that they must move west, and I don't know what's going to happen after the Treaty of Greenville is signed. They may have to move further and further west because the United States government, as I hear from the treaty, is taking all the land west of the Cuyahoga, where the Ottawa now live. And they love this land. They've protected it. They've cultivated it. And they've respected the land. But I don't know. I think that they may take more than just the land they say in the treaty. I fear that they may take the entire land, and the Ottawa will have no land at all. Well, I best be on my way. I've got to gather some more herbs for dinner.
So as the Native Americans were pushed out by the settlers and the military, the settlers began to farm. They began to farm their own goods as a living, not just to eat for themselves. But there's nobody to sell to, because if you were growing corn and you were growing corn, you weren't going to sell it to each other. You were just going to eat it yourself and feed your family. So Ohio was in a really bad place. They were on the verge of bankruptcy because they had no way to transport their goods. There weren't cars, there weren't trains, there was really no way. So Ethan Allen Brown decided in 1820 to start a canal commission. And in 1825, James Geddes began work on the canal. He was part of the building of the Erie Canal, so he really was experienced. July 4th, 1825, the canal began to be built.
Greetings, friends.
Greetings.
Excuse my appearance. I don't think I've slept in a couple months. I'm out here with all the other men digging on this canal. Trying to provide for my wife and my young'uns. It was hard getting here from Ireland. But you know what they said? They said America is land, milk, and honey. America is the land of opportunity. America is the land of the good life. I don't know about that. I sure ain't seen no good life yet. And my young'uns, they safe. And they have a warm place to sleep at night. But I'm out here on this canal digging from sun up to sundown. The only thing I got is this here shovel. Look, my hands all blistered, my knees worn, my back about broke so I can't even bend over anymore. Can't remember the last time I had a good meal. You know what they pay me a day? To be out here in this land of opportunity, digging from sun up to sundown? You know what they pay me? How much you think? $1. That's a good guess, ma'am. I wish they'd give me $1 though. 30 cents a day. 30 cents a day. Can you imagine? Sir, how'd you like to be trying to provide for your family on 30 cents a day?
It would be hard.
Be hard. You know, though they give me a jigger of whiskey to ward off the malaria, they give me a place to sleep too. Without that, I don't know if I could go on. You know what, friendzo? I have hope. Hope. This canal leads to hope. I have hope for success and progress and for my family. One day, my family is going to have a fine, good home. They're going to have good meals and nice, clean water. My youngin's going to get a good education, have a better life than me. Yes, sir. This canal is bringing hope. Hope for our nation and hope for this great state of Ohio that I call home now.